What's up, I'm Troubleshoot. In this quick guide, I'll go through Terminus, Black Ops 6 Zombies, the full story questline progression from start to finish. So let's go ahead and do it. I'll go as quickly as possible, so make sure to pause this video and rewind if necessary, timestamps down below. First of all, we'll need to activate the Pack-a-Punch machine, and this mission is super hand-holdy. These are marked for you. Open up the marked doors, and at each of these little vending machine things, interact with them for 500 credits each, and protect for about 30 seconds each. Once you've done so, from all of the purple-eyed zombies, it'll let you progress to the second and eventually the third little generator. Once you've powered up all three of these generators in the starting location, as well as the central room where the Juggernaut is, and finally all the way down by the bottom of the map in the main facility type area, you'll finally be able to bring up the platform that has the Pack-a-Punch on it and can take you between this lab area and the upstairs area. This will be important in a moment. For now though, you'll need to save up a bit of cash and head across to one of these upgrade machines, such as the one over here on the northeast side of the lab, and inside of this arsenal, make sure to buy the Dead Wire mod for whichever weapon you have. Then climb onto the platform and tell it to lift up. Make sure you have a crawler or just one zombie left, hopefully distracted. Maybe not here. You can do this solo though, and on your way up you'll find 3 electrical boxes. Shoot the one immediately behind you, then to your left, and in front of you. Once you've done all 3 of these, I shoot them a few times for good measure, you'll see electricity fly off from it when it works. Head immediately behind you upstairs into the Juggernaut room, shoot the panel on the wall, outside to the left, shoot the final panel, and now you've unlocked access to the Wonder Weapon crafting room. Kill the zombie crawling out on the floor to pick up an EMF fob, and now you'll have the workbench unlocked immediately in front of you for the Wonder Weapon, the Beamsmasher. From here to your left, you'll see 3 math problems, as well as X, Y, and Z on the board. What you need to do is head to 3 specific computers and hit F to activate them. The first one you'll find located all the way down by the dock, just under PhD Flopper, slightly up the stairs. Right over here is X. Hit F to activate it, and as soon as something shows on the screen, you can move across to the next one. You'll find Y all the way back up, just through the door by Quick Revive on the far northwest side of the map. Then once you've activated Y, head straight back through past Quick Revive, across to the opposite side, then down just a bit where you'll find Z. Activate this computer as well. Once you've done all 3 of these, you'll need to head back to PhD Flopper, and inside of this same room over here with this scary sounding device, you'll find on the table a briefcase with a hand attached with a multiphasic resonator inside of it. With this device on you, you'll need to kill all of the vermin that spawn in right behind you and make your way back into the room connecting to the bridge that we just came across. Inside of here, on the table, you'll find a battery. Once you've picked up this battery, head back to the crafting room, and if you're in single player, well, at least you can pause the game to figure things out. Essentially, there's a math problem here. Yes, you can skip it by heading to Quick Revive and paying 5,000 credits to the man behind the glass to give you the answer shown on the terminal to the left, but you can also figure it out super easily. These questions aren't hard, it'll just be more hard if you can't pause in multiplayer. Essentially, head across to the device, hit F, and it'll place X, Y, and Z, as well as 3 different shapes below that. Take a screenshot of these shapes and move across to the board, or look across to the board, and we'll figure things out. Essentially, X has 2 vertical white circles and 2 horizontal black circles. This one is located in the bottom right, so we'll take the number on the left, in this case 2, and the number right below it, in this case 0. That makes 20. Then the second one's just a blank circle in the top right, 0 on the left, 0 on the bottom, so it's 0, and finally my one was a diagonal clear and black pattern, so the first one on the bottom left being 2 on the left and 2 below, so 22. Now that we know what X, Y, and Z all equal, it'll be different for you. Look across to your right where you'll see another board. This contains a bunch of math problems. They're super simple, just substitute X for whatever number you found and do some super simple bod mass. Then head back to the machine and punch in your answer. If you're playing single player, it's super easy, take your time, and once you've punched in the correct code, you'll see the map starts trying to triangulate some kind of point, but this is going to take some time. For me, I needed to end the round, then play the next round, and at this point it should give you the result, but for me it didn't, so I needed to play another round, and then one more on top of it, taking me up to round 9 from I think round 6. At this point, I finally got the voice line saying it's been triangulated, we can head back to it and see what island has been marked. It'll be one of 3 islands. The major islands have ammo caches and things on it. For me, it was the one on the right, so I'll mark it and head across to it, but importantly, importantly, not before we pick up an item from the same table we're looking at, the Multiphasic Resonator. Once we've grabbed this item, you can head all the way down to the dock, grab yourself a boat, or spawn one in if you haven't got one, using these little trajectory things, and you'll need to head all the way to that marked island. On this marked island, you'll see a blue or green ball of energy. All you need to do is hit F to activate it with the device that you picked up earlier. If you don't have it, you can't activate it, head back, pick it up from the table, and then activate it. Essentially, you'll need to survive multiple waves of zombies spawning from around the area until eventually a ball of energy is spawned, matching the color of the orb. Head across to it, hit F to pick it up, and you'll be able to slowly walk across, where we'll walk through the big ball, placing it inside just by walking through it. You don't need to interact with it at all, pressing any keys. You can only hip fire through this, and if you choose to reload, you'll drop the ball of energy, so you can run around, pick it up again, and slowly make your way back towards it. Then once you've placed 2 or 3 of these, you'll see the ball will take off, and it'll leave you an item on the floor. Pick up the item and make note of where the ball headed off to. It'll head across to one of the other 2 major islands. For me, it went off to the left island, so that's where I'll be heading next. Mark the island and travel all the way across to it. This time, it might not be blue, it'll be green, for example. We'll do the exact same steps, so activate the main big ball, kill zombies, pick up smaller balls, stick them into it, and eventually it'll drop an item and fly off to a 3rd location. So pick up the item, head across to the 3rd marked island. In this case, it was the northwest one, and we'll do the same thing one final time. This time it was purple, so activate 1 ball, 2 ball, and it'll drop us the 3rd and final item. It'll also possibly end the wave. Once we pick up this 3rd item, you'll need to make your way back onto the boat and head all the way back up to the crafting room right next to the Juggernaut, where we can craft the CR11 Beamsmasher. Grab the wonder weapon, and with this we can progress further into the story. With the Beamsmasher in hand, we'll need to run around all the way back down to the elevator where we can pack-a-punch the Beamsmasher. You'll need it to be pack-punched to level 1. Then there are 3 specific traps that we need to navigate to, and look for a card on the floor in the broken grate below it. For me, it was located down in the main lab area, so I'll need to open the door, activate the Tentacle Trap, and blast it using the primary fire on our wonder weapon. After a short while of blasting it, it'll drop a hard drive, but there are 3 locations that this can appear. The same trap appears on the opposite side, on the far southeast of the lab, and alternatively all the way up by Juggernaut in the same room, there's the 3rd possible place that this card can spawn. You'll see this broken vent way early in this mission, so you might have already seen it. Just run across wherever it is, activate it, blast the trap, and it'll drop you the hard drive. Grab this hard drive and run all the way back up past Quick Revive to the same man who you could have bought the answers to the math problem previously from. Simply hit F to deposit the hard drive in this little box, and now we need to find 3 different numbers for use later on. The first one you'll find in the Quick Revive room. Behind this little fence over here, it's the clock on the wall. You'll need to look for the hour hand. In my case, it's the 7 hour. So that's the number that it'll be, 7. Analog clocks are difficult for some people. If they are, pause or take a screenshot and try to figure out what time it is. So with 7 in mind, I'll run across to the southwest side of the map, where inside of this little warehouse over here on the board to our left, or the north side, you'll find a playing card on the board right at the bottom center. Make note of what value this playing card is. This one's a 4 of hearts, so it's a 4 that we need to write down. And finally head across to the crafting room, where inside of here, you'll find a poster on the wall saying days since last injury. In my case, it says 8, so that's the final digit. With all 3 of these numbers written down, head back to the lab, all the way down at the center, and from the central point, hit F on the keypad to start yet more yapping. Wait for the dude to finish speaking, and finally, once all of the dialogue is complete, head back, hit F, and type in the 3 digits we remembered in that order. So clock, playing card, and days since injured. Once you've done all 3 of those, it'll unlock, and you just need to hit F at each of these locks next to it. If you're a single player, just hit F once and it'll start immediately. Otherwise, if you're in multiplayer, make sure that everyone hits F at roundabouts the same time, each at their own different unlocking point. There are 4 spread around the same central piece. Once this is done, the mini-boss battle will start and Nathan will spawn in. Just make sure to gun him down. Hitting the heads around him are his weak spots, and eventually you'll get him down where a cutscene will play. You'll be safe for about a minute or so here. Then once the cutscene finishes, you'll need to dive into the water, and around this central piece, you'll find a keycard just sitting on the floor. It's super easy to spot, but you'll just need to swim around. For me, it was on the southwest side. Then we'll need to grab it and head out all the way to the boat in the middle of the ocean to the far west. Just make sure to take a boat with you, otherwise it's going to be super tough. So boat across into the center of it and you'll find a ladder that leads up. Inside of the small claustrophobic room, you'll find an ammo pack and a crafting table with 2 items on top of it. Grab one of them, and if you're in a team, grab the second one. And now you'll be trapped in this room for 3 little waves of zombies that come through the 4 entrances in this room. If you're 4 players, just guard all 4 and it'll be super easy for you. If you're solo, you can only take one of these canisters with you. Once you clear it, head down, back onto your boat, and we'll need to head to the far south island where we'll check to see if we can put this canister down. So, at this crab island, all the way by the crafting, just opposite it, you'll find pipes that stick out of the ground. If these pipes are separated and there's a noticeable air gap, then you can hold F to place this item back in and fix the pipe. For me, this was already fixed, so we'll need to head all the way back to PhD Flopper. Just underneath it, you'll find the same set of pipes and this should be open for you. There's 3 possible places that we can go and only 2 of them will be open. If you're playing solo, once you place this, you'll need to head all the way back to the boat where we can grab the second item the same way that we did the first. This time, no waves of zombies will spawn. So with this in hand, head across to the third and final location, which is the underground area by Speed Reload. So you'll need to buy probably another door if you haven't gone this way, and just behind the Speed Reload, along this long snaky bit of wall, you should find the third and final place. Once we put it in here and finish it, more yapping will begin, and once the story has progressed just a little bit, I went out and boated around waiting for things to finish, we can head all the way back up to Quick Revive to the same place that we placed our hard drive a moment ago, hit F, and more yapping will begin. And shortly after, a hacking device will spawn in that same little pocket that we placed the hard drive in earlier. Grab this, and we'll need to head back to the dock and onto a boat. With this boat, there are 3 buoys that you need to hack. So, boat straight east from the PhD Flopper dock, stop nearby, stand on the boat by exiting it, and hold F or interact. There isn't going to be a prompt for this, you just have to hold it and hope, and you'll see decrypting. Once this finishes, you'll have 2 minutes on the clock to get back in your boat and head straight towards the massive ship. Over in that direction, just past the main South Crab Island, you'll find the second buoy that you need to interact with. Hold your interact key, once again wait for it to decrypt, and finally get back in your boat and head straight north all the way to the far side of the island, where you'll find the extreme northwest island, and just past it, yet another buoy that we need to interact with. So stop nearby, start decrypting it, and when it's done, you're done with this segment of the mission. People will speak once more, and you'll need to find your way back to the lab in the center of the island. For me, this was round 17, so I saved, quitted, and came back in the future. And if you happen to do that at any stage, you may need to repeat this again when you load back in. Anyways, head back to the central lab once more, head back to the far northwest side, and hopefully Modi is busy speaking, saying self-destruct is going to begin. From here, you'll have a time segment where if you don't complete it in time, the whole place blows up and you lose what you were doing up until now. So you got to be super quick to defuse these 3 bombs, as you have 5 minutes to do so. From this northwestern side, to your left, you'll have 1 door, and to your right, at the same level, you'll have the second door. You'll need to hold F to defuse both of these, and it's going to take some time. If you're playing multiplayer, this is going to be easier. If you're solo, you can run around, start, get it halfway, run away, and come back in the future to defuse it further. I got both of these 2 bottom ones done first, and the third one is located right above where you are currently, so head up either staircase, all the way up, turn back on yourself, and you'll find right in the center above where you were the third and final bomb. This is located straight on the far north side of the lab on this second level. Once you've defused all 3 of these bombs, more speaking will begin, and you've now finished most of the main storyline. If you're ready, at this point you'll need to earn pretty much as much money as possible and prepare yourself for the final boss battle that's going to be super difficult. So buy yourself some shields, buy yourself a self-revive from a workbench, which will cost 1,500 scrap, and once your whole team is ready, you'll need to head to the extreme north side of the lab all the way down on the water level, where we previously defused the 2 bombs on the left and the right, and you'll find a door in the center with a keypad next to it. It was previously red, now it's green. Once you hit F to start the final boss battle, if you're solo, it'll start immediately, and if you're in multiplayer, you'll need to vote to enter it. At this point, you'll see some giant Cthulhu kind of beast, Patient 13, and the final boss battle sequence has begun. This is going to be super tough, so make sure you're prepared. There's 2 major kind of attacks. There's the smash attack, where the boss will smack down and do some good AoE damage, and a swipe kind of attack that'll do some similar damage. It's going to be real tough. Basically, in this first stage of the boss battle, you'll need to hang around in an area long enough for little red bubbles to appear on the side of the boss. If you happen to move between the left, the right, the front, and the back a little bit too quickly, the boss will sink down and re-emerge closer to you without a weak point active. So you'll need to hang around in the same area for a little bit, baiting out one of the boss's attacks, and assuming you dodged it, you're able to start hitting the weak points. If you're in multiplayer, it'll likely stay in the same position for much longer with the weak points active, so it should be a little bit easier for you. Once you've finished this first phase of shooting the red weak points on the side of the boss, all of the tentacles around the map that are busy chucking hate at you will become vulnerable and the boss will disappear. You'll need to destroy every tentacle that's throwing things at you from the water, and the second phase of the boss battle will begin. This second phase is similar to the first. The boss will have a weak point that you need to attack, and that's in its mouth. It should be super obvious where you need to shoot. Again, shoot it until the HP is down far enough where it sinks into the water, and we need to get rid of the tentacles hanging around once more. The first 2 phases are a lot easier if you use score streaks like a chopper gunner, as you can do a huge amount of damage to the side and the mouth really easily. Then, phase 3 of this boss battle can be done in a similar way, but involves tentacles on the side of the beast itself being yellow and glowy the same way the tentacles in the sea are, and we need to just hammer them as much as possible until we get to the final bit where he gives up smashing and swiping, and we get into some kind of big EMP building phase. The boss will build up a huge amount of energy and release it in one huge blow, knocking you to the ground and killing you pretty much straight away if you're in the open. So what you'll need to do is take cover on the southern side where the island is, where there's a bunch of boxes and things that you can hide behind. You'll need to do this multiple times, each time a shockwave goes out, and in between these shockwaves, you'll see that the eyes of the beast are the new crit points. Just spam the beast as much as possible, and eventually you'll take it down, hopefully finishing this boss battle and winning. I didn't get that far in solo, but that's the basic rundown of how the boss works. It's relatively simple, but it's going to be super difficult, especially if you're not prepared for this kind of thing. You may need to do it a few times to beat it. Anyways, that's it. You now know the full questline progression for Terminus in Black Ops 6 Zombies. Hopefully you found this video useful. Thank you for watching. You'll find more Black Ops 6 content down below. Mine has been Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.